وأن تشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأن محمدًا رسول الله وتقيم الصلاة بوضوء كامل لوقتها وتؤتي الزكاة وتصوم رمضان وتحج البيت إن كان لك مال
What is confusing at this point, Annalise, is the official withdrawal date, and that is the 31st of August. Joe Biden didn't say anything about this today, even when he was asked.
No, he's been pointedly avoiding doing any kind of media around this. He did attend a service today. It's called A Dignified Return for those 13 servicemen and women who died in that bomb blast on Kabul airport. It's there they were welcomed by not only the President and the First Lady, but also the Secretary of Defence and the Secretary of State as well. In this ceremony, it's quite symbolic as the family members there are joining in. It's one of the more grave responsibilities of the Commander-in-Chief. But it was soon after he went to FEMA to give a briefing on the hurricane. And it's there that a reporter attempted to get a question in and he brushed it off.
I'm not supposed to take any questions, but go ahead.
Mr. President, on Afghanistan?
I'm not going to answer Afghanistan now.
Laura, the other apparent misstep of the president today has been a moment in that ceremony when he appears to check his watch for the time, which wouldn't be quite in keeping with the moment. Supporters, defenders of the president have said that that's a gift of his late son, Beau Biden, but that's actually been repeatedly found to be a false story. It came up originally during the inauguration, but it's proven to be a gift from clarification from the White House from the First Lady, Jill Biden, for Christmas. It's a Rolex, reportedly around $7,000, which garnered a bit of media coverage at the time. But this is already really infuriating many who support the veteran community, saying he shouldn't be watching the time when he's taking part in such a serious ceremony.
Mr. President, today you and I, and you've been so generous with your time in these difficult days, you and I are going to write yet another chapter in the beautiful story of the friendship between our two nations, the United States of America and the Jewish and democratic state of Israel. Both of us who seek to do good and need to be strong, both of us who are a lighthouse in a very, very stormy world. Thank you, Mr. President. I look forward to working with you now and for many years forward. Thank you.
Well, thank you, and you give me credit, much of which should go to Barack Obama for making sure that we committed to the qualitative edge you would have relative to your friends in the region. So he's the one that deserves the credit.
Thank him as well.
Thank you very much, folks.
Disabled and non-disabled all around the world, I call on you to commit to concrete actions to stop the destruction of this magnificent planet. This conference is one of the most important meetings in history. You have the chance to make decisions and reach agreements which will affect the lives of generations to come. You are in a position of extraordinary power. You can change forever the trajectory we are on. You can make a world that is once again full of hope, not fear. This is my message from Earth to COP. On behalf of We the 15, I ask you, please help us to guarantee a safer future for every life, regardless of their ability.
Please welcome the Prime Minister of Italy, Mario Draghi.
My job as president is to protect all Americans. So tonight, I'm announcing that the Department of Labor is developing an emergency rule to require all employers with 100 or more employees that together employ over 80 million workers to ensure their workforces are fully vaccinated or show a negative test at least once a week. My message to unvaccinated Americans is this: what more is there to wait for? What more do you need to see? We've made vaccinations free, safe, and convenient. The vaccine has FDA approval. Over 200 million Americans have gotten at least one shot. We've been patient, but our patience is wearing thin, and your refusal has cost all of us.
Таким образом, согласился бы с предложением Николая Платоновича о том, что нашим, так сказать, западным партнерам можно дать последний шанс с тем, чтобы предложить им в кратчайшие сроки заставить Киев пойти на мир и выполнить Минские соглашения. В противном случае мы должны принять то решение, о котором сегодня говорится.
Что значит, в противном случае вы предлагаете начать переговорный процесс?
Нет, я...
Или признавать суверенитет их?
А я поддержу...
Говорите прямо.
Я поддержу предложение о признании...
Поддержу или поддерживаю? Говорите прямо, Сергей.
Поддерживаю предложение...
Так и скажите, да или нет.
Да. Поддерживаю предложение о вхождении Донецкой и Луганской народных республик в состав Российской Федерации.
Да, мы об этом не говорим, мы этого не обсуждаем. Мы говорим о признании их независимости или нет.
Да, я поддерживаю предложение о признании независимости.
Хорошо, пожалуйста, садитесь. Спасибо. Владимир Александрович.
Народные республики Донбасса обратились к России с просьбой о помощи. Мною принято решение о проведении специальной военной операции. Ее цель – защита людей, которые на протяжении 8 лет подвергаются издевательствам, геноциду со стороны киевского режима. И для этого мы будем стремиться к демилитаризации и денацификации Украины, а также преданию суду тех, кто совершил многочисленные кровавые преступления против мирных жителей, в том числе и граждан Российской Федерации.
Ukraine is a country in Europe. It exists next to another country called Russia. Russia is a bigger country. Russia is a powerful country. Russia decided to invade a smaller country called Ukraine. So basically, that's wrong.
Throughout our history, we've learned this lesson. When dictators do not pay a price for their aggression, they cause more chaos. They keep moving. And the cost, the threats to America and America to the world keeps rising. That's why the NATO alliance was created, to secure peace and stability in Europe after World War II. The United States is a member, along with 29 other nations. It matters. American diplomacy matters. American resolve matters. Putin's latest attack on Ukraine was premeditated and totally unprovoked. He rejected repeated efforts at diplomacy. He thought the West and NATO wouldn't respond. He thought he could divide us at home, in this chamber, in this nation. He thought he could divide us in Europe as well, but Putin was wrong. We are ready. We are united, and that's what we did. We stayed united. He has no idea what's coming.
The governor and I, and we were all doing a tour of the library here, and talking about the significance of the passage of time, right? The significance of the passage of time. So when you think about it, there is great significance to the passage of time in terms of what we need to do to lay these wires, what we need to do to create these jobs. And there is such great significance to the passage of time when we think about a day in the life of our children.
Mr. President, Dr. Biden, how was the anniversary?
Oh, I'm good. Yeah. Keep up the good work. I keep on taking these things off. I got my foot caught in it.
Mr. President, made up your mind on China tariffs, Mr. President.
And I'm ready to go. All right, guys. See you.
It's my honor to introduce to the country a daughter of former public school teachers, a proven consensus builder, an accomplished lawyer, a distinguished jurist on one of the nation's most prestigious courts. My nominee for the United States Supreme Court is Judge Ketanji Jackson. Choosing someone to serve on the United States Supreme Court is one of the most serious constitutional responsibility a president has, and I mean it. I promised the process would be rigorous, that I would select a nominee worthy of Justice Breyer's legacy of excellence and decency, someone extremely qualified, with a brilliant legal mind, with the utmost character and integrity, which are equally as important.
There's breaking news out of Palm Beach, Florida. Former President Trump says his Mar-a-Lago home there is being raided by the FBI right now. He detailed it in a lengthy post on his social media site. CNBC and NBC News have not confirmed the law enforcement activity. But the former president wrote that a, quote, large group of FBI agents is at his property. He describes it as a siege, calling the raid unannounced. This comes just weeks after NBC News reported that the Justice Department has been investigating the former president's actions as part of its investigation into the events of January 6th and the insurrection at the Capitol.
Mr. President, first Detroit Auto Show in 3 years.
Yeah.
Is the pandemic over?
The pandemic is over. We still have a problem with COVID. We're still doing a lot of work on it. But the pandemic is over. If you notice, no one's wearing masks. Everybody seems to be in pretty good shape. And so I think it's changing, and I think this is a perfect example of it.
As Ukraine succeeds on the battlefield, Vladimir Putin is becoming embarrassed and pushed into a corner. And I wonder, Mr. President, what you would say to him if he is considering using chemical or tactical nuclear weapons.
Don't.
It's true with stars that they can grab women by the...
Well, that's what it's, if you look over the last million years, I guess that's been largely true, not always, but largely true. unfortunately or fortunately.
And you consider yourself to be a star?
I think you can say that, yeah.
She's accusing me of rape. A woman that I have no idea who she is. It came out of the blue. She's accusing me of rape, of raping her. The worst thing you can do, the worst charge, and you know it's not true too. You're a political operative also. You're a disgrace. But she's accusing me, and so are you, of rape, and it never took place. And I will tell you, I made that statement, and I said, well, it's politically incorrect. She's not my type, and that's 100% true. She's not my type.
There's this ridiculous situation that we're doing right now. It's a big fat hoax. She's a liar, and she's a sick person, in my opinion, really sick.
And I provided the resources to other key ports, including Savannah, Georgia, and on the East Coast, and to help reduce congestion and undo damage caused by COVID. We also met with the CEOs of Walmart, Target, Home Depot, TJ Maxx, and others. Those retailers, large retailers, and others agreed to move products more quickly, stock the shelves more quickly. And by the way, you may have heard the CEO of Walmart yesterday on the steps we've taken. He said, and I quote, "The combination of private enterprise and government working together has been really successful." He went on to say, all the way through the supply chain, there's a lot of innovation. Because of the actions we've taken, things have begun to change. End of quote. In the past 3 weeks, the number of containers sitting on docks, blocking movement, are down by 33%. Taken, things have begun to change. End of quote. In the past 3 weeks,
I see the morning dew creeping on in, inside a calling voice from deep within. So I borrowed a book with pages of blank. I wrote down some words, and then I sang them out so they could be heard. Oh, don't you worry, we'll return to all shiny and new. Don't you worry, we'll return to you, all shiny and new. Walking down what used to be my street, now paved with disbelief. Friendly faces turning away, hey, whispering, hey, hey, now, hey, now, hey, now, there he goes. He must be mad, speaking of a friendly place in this world. Well, ain't that sad? Now I've got trouble, trouble, tie me away when I've got trouble, yeah. I want you to bring me the day in night. Trouble, tie me away when I've got trouble, yeah. I want you to bring me the day in night. Trouble, hey, hey. Don't you worry, it will be returned. Don't you worry, it will be returned to you. Don't you worry, we'll return to all shiny and new. Don't you worry, we'll return to you, all shiny and new.
In order to make America great and glorious again, I am tonight announcing my candidacy for President of the United States. Thank you, kids. Thank you. All of you.
Breaking news right now. Body cam video of the attack on Nancy Pelosi's husband in their California home has just been released. It shows Paul Pelosi opening the door and police telling that suspect, David DePape, to drop the hammer. This part may be disturbing. DePape is saying swinging the hammer off camera. Officers rush into the house, jumping on DePape and taking him into custody. A judge ruled yesterday to release the video. He has now pleaded not guilty to both state and federal charges.
The Supreme Court overturning Roe versus Wade, ending abortion as a constitutional right after nearly a half century.
The Supreme Court decision Friday overturned nearly 50 years of a woman's right to choose abortion under the Constitution. The conservative majority on the bench clearing the way for individual states to restrict or outright ban abortion services. This morning, 8 states are enforcing bans with few exceptions, and an additional 18 are likely to ban or severely restrict abortion services in the coming weeks.
So the United States shares a very important relationship, which is an alliance with the Republic of North Korea. And it is an alliance that is strong and enduring. And today, there were several demonstrations of just that point.
But we're leading against all Republicans by more than 50 points, every one of them. You know, you hear about different Republicans. And we're beating Biden by 5 points or more. And we're beating Kamala Harris, the North Korea sympathizer. She's a sympathizer. We're beating her by 10 points. No, she likes North Korea. I think that was one of the worst mistakes of all. Can you imagine? They're standing on the border. North Korea's over there shooting off missiles as she's speaking. They shot out 2 missiles. And I got along very good with Kim Jong-un. That's another one. We got along great with Kim Jong-un. We didn't have a problem. But he doesn't like these people too much. But think of it, they're shooting off missiles and she's saying about North Korea is our ally and our friend. And when I heard it, I said, oh, this is just sort of she didn't mean that. Did you see the people in South Korea, what they were doing as they're standing there listening? That would be one of the only times where they should have sent somebody up to talk to her and say, listen, you really made a big one. We got to change this. You know, normally if you blow it, I don't want to have somebody walk up here and say, sir, could you just rephrase it, please? I'd get angry. But you know what? In that one, I would be very happy to receive their advice because that's one of the worst I've ever seen. That's one of the worst I've ever seen. I think it's just gross. It's gross incompetence.
Would you take President Biden's place in that? Do you think it places a political liability?
That's a great asset. More inflation. What a stupid son of a bitch.
Votes are being counted in the United States. The Democrats, who have held both houses of Congress for the past 2 years, are predicted to lose the House of Representatives.
Republicans are confident of a red wave, and no one's counting on that more than Donald Trump.
Well, I think if they win, I should get all the credit, and if they lose, I should not be blamed at all, okay?
Polls just closed, and already the Associated Press declaring that Wes Moore is the new governor of the state of Maryland.
It is our time. We will get this done. We usually see very tight races for governor here in Florida. Look at the spread here tonight. 57 to 42 for Governor Ron DeSantis. Florida is where woke goes to die.
One interesting House race to tell you about in Florida's 10th district. Maxwell Frost is the projected winner here. He is the first representative of Gen Z to be elected to the United States Congress.
Gen Z and millennials make up a third of our country, and I think we need a government that looks like the people.
Pennsylvania, Josh Shapiro, the Attorney General, will be the next governor.
Tonight, you won. Opportunity won. A woman's right to choose won.
Here it is. Fox News can project that Lieutenant Governor John Fetterman will win the Pennsylvania Senate race over Dr. Mehmet Oz.
I never expected that we were going to turn these red counties blue.
It does look as though this is not the red wave, not the Republican wave, not the wave Donald Trump had expected.
And voters have have indicted the Republican Party.
Biden is set to give a speech in the next few minutes. His party doing better than the polls had predicted before the election.
While the press and the pundits are predicting a giant red wave, it didn't happen.
control of Congress still undecided. And in Arizona and Nevada, the ballot counting continues, with Senate races too close to call.
CBS News projects the U.S. House of Representatives is leaning toward Republican control.
And it looks more likely that Republicans might just have 2 seats of a majority in the House of Representatives. That's a terrible night for Republicans.
80,000 more votes just came in, and there it is.
There it is. Mark Kelly is the projected winner in the Arizona Senate race.
I understand we have some breaking news in Nevada right now.
Look at this. The Senate race in Nevada is now less than 800 vote lead for the Republican candidate, Adam Laxalt.
It's a dramatic shift.
That is a dramatic shift.
There it is. That's the check mark.
Oh, wow.
Catherine Cortez Masto, the winner of the Nevada Senate race. Democrats now have control of the United States Senate.
They have not only defied expectations, they have defied history.
This may be the moment that we discovered that Donald Trump is not a kingmaker any longer. This is it.
A true leader understands that it's time to step off the stage, and the voters have given us that very clear message.
Let's bring in the founder of American Majority, Ned Ryan, here to react. So we're about to see the mugshot, and there it is.
Yeah.
Let's just take that in for a second.